they'll say they think your account may have been hacked, or they're trying to get some payment or something. If they're calling you, they should be informing you of a problem, right? That would be normally what the issue is. No legitimate organization is going to ask you for gift cards or Apple Pay cards or things like that to have you mail that to them or ship that to them or give that over the phone. And they're not going to do it that way. They'll send you an invoice, or they're just not going to solicit that, especially if it's a federal organization, or they say the IRS or something. They don't. That's not how they operate. They may contact you with an official document and tell you that you owe back taxes or something like that, but they're not going to expect you to pay up front, when they contact you. If they contact you and they're demanding the bank account information, credit card information, so they have open access, that I'd be very suspicious of that. And you're probably better off to contact that company, look up their number, call their customer service number, and then track it back that way. So you're actually making the contact. So what they can do is people can set up a hyperlink to say anything they want. So they can rekey it to look like Amazon.com or Netflix or whatever they want. But if you hover over it, you actually will see the actual username and URL, and that will be something really weird. It may even have a foreign country. Because it'll be like we have .coms in the United States, but you'll see .ca if it's a Canada, or foreign nations will be in there, and there will be misspellings. They do a pretty good job of copying logos, mm-hmm. So you can't really go at. It used to be that you'd look at it and you're like, that's not right. That doesn't look like the actual logo for Microsoft or something like that. But now they're getting better at doing that with copying and pasting and all that. So you really can't trust that. But like you said, the address itself, the sender, look at where the sender came from, because it's not going to have that the company name in it. It'll be something completely different, probably a personal URL and pathway. So don't trust the hyperlinks, and just click on the hyperlinks. And I would actually be very careful before you click to links, because that's really how they get you. It's the email itself. Opening the email itself isn't usually what's going to download any kind of viruses or key logs. They like to download key logs into your system. It's copying, or it's opening up that hyperlink is what's really going to get you. When you click on a link, it won't be actually a link to any location within the internet. It'll actually be some kind of a virus or malware. The key logs, the way they work is after you open that key log, every keystroke can be seen by the hacker. So anything that you key in after that is downloaded. They can see that, and if they pay really close attention, they can see patterns. And based on those patterns, they'll actually find out what your passwords are for all of your accounts, because they can see every keystroke that you make on the keyboard after you do that. So that's kind of a real good reason why you should avoid clicking on any kind of links. If you do get something from a company that you may have an account with, like Netflix, Amazon, whatever, I encourage people to contact the company directly on your own, and don't reply to whatever was sent to you.
What can your department do to track that or help with that?
It's difficult. The more sophisticated they are, the more difficult it is, because they use phony IP addresses, so they ping those. They use anybody can set up a fake TikTok account or Snapchat or anything like that, and then it's just that's not a real person, and so you run into a complete dead end on those type of things. But yeah, it just comes down to trying to identify who that user is of those accounts. Try to use the two-factor authentication if possible. That's a lot of banks especially are doing that. Trading, a lot of people do online trading accounts and all that stuff. Make sure you use the two-factor authentication, and then don't use the same password for all of your accounts, because I know it's convenient, but use a different password for every account, and change your password on a regular basis, at least quarterly. Don't use things like your date of birth or family members' names and things like that, because if you get into someone's Facebook or especially those, your date, a lot of people have their birthday is on there, you know, in your profile, so you can find that. And then, so if people have a tendency to use their birthday for passwords or PIN numbers or their kids' names in combinations, it's pretty easy to guess what you might use as a password. So that's not very secure to do that. So try to use something that they can't get out of your personal profile information out of that. So something that wouldn't be accessible to the public. The ones that they're getting, the elderly, are actually more of those are phone contacts.
Okay.
So they're not really like a computer cybercrime type thing. It's more of they either threaten that they have a warrant, or they have they're the IRS and they're trying to collect money, and they're going to have a warrant, and they're going to have FBI agents show up at their residence if they don't mail them money. That's kind of the general scheme, is that they're in some kind of trouble. They also will pose as a grandchild or something like that they're
their grandchild
they're
is
locked up and they need to be
somewhere,
so they need to get money sent to them. They'll say they're in Mexico or they're somewhere, and they'll release them if they can post their bond. Or there was one that they were posing as the State Police Association or a Iowa Police Officers Association that was raising money, and that was another. It was all a scam. There's been several of them, but those are by phone primarily. I've had one as Amazon, and this happened personally to me, but they sent an email, and it said that there was a problem with our account. They thought it had been hacked. And I was supposed to call this 800 number to talk to their tech support or something. So I called it, and it was the person that answered. They didn't answer the way I would have expected someone from tech support or from Amazon to answer. It was kind of a casual hello kind of a thing, and I'm like, this sounds weird. And I was out between calls. It was working, so I ended up saying, I'll call you back later. I want to find out more about what this is all about. And he was trying to keep me on the line. So I ended up calling back later when I was not working anymore, and they were trying to talk me into letting their tech support log into one of my devices, like a computer or a laptop or a tablet or something like that. They're asking if there's a way that they can log into my device to see what happened with the hacking. And I thought, okay, now I know what's going on, because they're basically trying to get all your passwords and all of your access to all of your computer and everything.
Do you have many older people that get tripped up with those types of emails? Like they think that they're legitimate or not really?
No, because they're not that tech savvy, so a lot of them aren't really involved in online shopping or anything like that. So I think they're probably, as our generation ages, we're going to be subject to that, because we're more involved with technology. But we're seeing that more with younger people that get involved with those. I would just say that you're definitely not alone. It happens to a lot of people, And so I wouldn't be overly embarrassed. It happens. It happens to the best of us, I guess. They're very good at what they do, and you can easily be fooled. So I would definitely encourage them to victims to come forward and provide whatever information they can, because if they don't, this will just continue, because they're getting away with millions of dollars every year from scams. And if the more people that report it, the more similarities we can find, and more we can learn about how they're operating, so we can at least prevent it from happening in the future, or maybe if we have some commonalities, we can figure out who's responsible. Unfortunately, a lot of these are actually from overseas, so it's very difficult for us to investigate those, even at a federal level, because it's an international crime at that point.